Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to Real Love Ministries Live. I am your host for the evening. I am Desiree Williams Hall of Real Love Ministries, and I am just so super excited on tonight. I'm going to try to keep my energy down because I know I could be a little over the top, but I am just so excited for tonight. This month, we are recognizing and honoring National Multi-Ethnic Donor Awareness Month. And those of you that caught the last show back in April, I was speaking to Trish Phillips, the founder of MMDF, which is Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. Did I get that right, Trish? So we have her back for the National Multi-Ethnic Donor Awareness Month, where it focused on minority organ donors and trying to get organ donations for minorities. And I'm just so excited that she has her whole board here with us. And I'm going to introduce them. First, I have my notes here. We have Kimberly Bennett. Kimberly Bennett is a kidney recipient, department head of recipients division. And then we have Tanisha McCall, which is also a living kidney donor, MMDF product service specialist. And we also have Miss Shirley Brill with us, double lung transplant recipient. And last but not least, we have the president and founder of MMD. She's a living kidney donor who donated directly to her best friend, Kimberly, in December 15th of 2016. She is the founder, executive director of MMD, Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. We have with us Miss Trish Phillips. Thank you all so much for joining us on tonight. We want to bring awareness to our communities, especially our minority communities, on organ donation, kidney health. And this organization is definitely an organization that will bring awareness and educate us on tonight on organ donation. I'm going to bring in Trish Phillips. Trish, how are you? Just unmute your mic.
Good afternoon, my friend. Good afternoon. It is a pleasure and an honor to be forth in front of you again. And I'd like to thank you for inviting me back. You reached out to me. I guess a lot of people don't know the history. Real Love Ministries is a worldwide ministry, but they are local based here in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She is a listener of my weekly radio kidney show, which is sponsored by Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing. So without my sponsors, you and I would have never connected. And I'm grateful that you allowed me to come back. And as promised, I mentioned to you, I would like to bring my board back to celebrate National Minority or Multi-Ethnic Donor Awareness Month. It is held every August, and a little bit down in the program, we're going to have Miss Shirley Scott Brill to tell us a little bit more about that. But I wanted to give a little bit of history. As she already mentioned, we are a 501c nonprofit foundation organization. And I set out to do this back, I want to say 2 years ago. And I want to thank my squad and also Philip Jones of A Second Chance Ministries, because if it wasn't for him, he pushed all of my squad, pushed me to get going. I hesitated. And of course, Kimberly was my biggest cheerleader. She's always been, go for it. I know you got it. I know you can do this. So he paired me with an incubator program, which was held through Facebook. It was a session and, of course, through a group by the name of Beacon for Today, Beacon Foresight. Mm-hmm. And if you are hesitant about getting your 501c3 nonprofit started, they're there for you. They're the best to get you started, your branding, and just walk you through the steps. and they don't just abandon you. They keep going and help making sure you go, and you can find them on the website too. They're beaconfortoday.com. And thanks to Philip and my squad who's listening. So when I formed the board, I had a unique connection to all of my board members. I had no idea, Desiree. It was just God arranged my environment, and it is true divine how this took place. I know you introduced them, but I wanted to touch a little bit on them before you call them to the forefront to give their spill.
Okay.
And that would be, of course, Kimberly. I would not be here without her. I donated back to her, as you said, in December. She and I are both doing very well. And I am forever grateful for her because she changed my life as well. Not only did I give her the gift of life, she gave me the gift of being able to live a healthier life, have a platform to educate, insist, and bring awareness to the multicultural communities. And it's not just African Americans, it is also Latin minorities and Asian Pacific, Island Pacific. So it is just a whole big realm because did you guys know there are 106,000 people? That's enough to fill 2 football stadiums.
Wow.
Waiting for life-saving organ transplants. And wait, the most alarming of it all, Desiree, and listening audience, of that 106,000, it is 60% of those 106,000 people that are waiting for those life-saving organs are of multicultural races. So, yes, I had to get the ball going because it's not many of us that look like me. So, my very first speaking engagement, once we get to Miss Shirley, she coached and talked me through it. So she became my godmother of the transplant world. She coached me and she helped make me feel more comfortable. And here I am 3 years later with my platform as being an advocate for living organ donation. And I just always ask everyone, if you or anyone that's a sibling, a parent, a loved one, it doesn't matter, your significant other, just close your eyes for 1 minute and ask yourself, wouldn't you want someone to help you or your loved one if they needed a life-saving organ transplant?
Wow.
You don't have to answer, listening audience, but just keep that up here. And the answer should be yes. But that there made me light fire because I didn't want us to be so rare where we turned into the unicorn. MOTA is MOTA, the Marvelous Unicorn, which stands for Minority Organ Donor Awareness. We don't need to be so rare where we are like a Black unicorn. So MOTA helps me spread the word. So since I've told you a little bit already about the foundation, I want to let you guys know how God led me to choose my board. As I mentioned to you before, Miss Shirley Scott Brill, she's a double lung transplant recipient. Not only did she become my godmother of the transplant world, people don't realize she is a founder and executive director of one of the largest African American foundations here, and that is EMAT, EMAT Inc. And I'm going to let her explain to you her platform and what it stands for. So that was she and I connection. Kimberly, we already know obviously the connection. And then we have Tanisha McCall. She is a living donor. The connection where I know it was nothing but God. She donated May 18th, which was my father's birthday. So that was a connection. And I do believe in God arranging my environment. So therefore, it's God's will. It's predestined. And she also has a unique story about how she even got into organ donation. She's no stranger from middle school. So she's going to tell you a little bit about that. Last well, no, I'm going to say last but not least. But coming up, I want to mention to you guys out there listening that there is one missing, and that is Alice Siete Neville. She is the dancing living donor. She is a worldwide phenomenal TikTok sensation. She has appeared on Ellen DeGeneres Show. She has appeared on Kelly and Ryan Show. She's huge on TikTok, and she had a family emergency. She's okay, but she could not attend tonight. The connection that she and I have, she donated on my birthday, July 3rd. So that is huge, the connection. Last but not least, none of us would be here tonight if it was not for Lorraine Gardner. She's a little bit under the weather, so she's off camera. She's waving, she's saying hello and sending her love. And I'm don't think everyone realize when you are trying to be a living donor, of course, they're going to make sure you're healthy enough to donate so that you can live a healthy life after donation. But it's very important to have caregivers. And when I tell you that my transplant would not have taken place, and Kimberly knows this, if it was not for Lorraine signing an affidavit, a sworn affidavit notarized that she would step up to the plate and be my caregiver. Now,
Wow.
she and I have been friends for 14 years. Keep in mind, she already knew I was a handful. So, me coming out of the hospital, I applaud her and forever grateful for saying yes to this. Because not only did she resides in Atlanta, but she also had to move to Tampa to stay with me for that month. So she
Wow.
packed up, and God blessed me where she was able to work from home. She moved to Tampa with me for those weeks. Plus, she drove me all the way back down to Fort Lauderdale and still put up with me for another week. And because I am not married, I don't have any living parents, and my sisters lived too far and they could not just pack up and move. It was, you know, it was definitely meant that Lorraine said yes, or the transplant would not have taken place. And yes, Kimberly daughters could have, but who wants to put up with me for a month and relocate? So I am still grateful for that. And caregivers don't get enough love. People take for granted, and it's not only with transplant surgeries, it's with any surgeries.
Yes.
Caregivers are needed, and they are welcomed, and they are loved. So with that being said, I am going to close it. We are on a time schedule tonight. Tomorrow's a work day, so I'm not going to take up all the time. Everybody has heard my story. I'm going to allow my board, that I am grateful that they have stepped up, and they all said yes to me when I asked them. And I'm forever grateful for all of you. Alice, too, if you're listening, I appreciate it, and I love you all. And Desiree will bring you guys upstage.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Trish. You did an awesome job introducing them. And once again, I am just so excited and so glad that you brought your entire board, even those that was not able to make it. You plugged them in as well. And I know that they would have been here. And we just appreciate it because, people have to understand this is a big thing, and you can't do it by yourself. It takes a collective of people that support your vision 120%, even more than you, because sometimes we as the visionaries, we can kind of like, nah, is this gonna really work? But we need those people right behind us. It's like, we're gonna do this, we're here for you, let's make this happen. So I am just so excited and elated to meet each and every one of you. But before they get talking, Trish, I have one more question. You did answer the first question I had for you, basically about just telling us a little bit about MMDF. But how important is kidney health and going to the doctor. I know the last time we talked a little bit, we talked much about kidney health because of what I had gone through, and we're not going to go through all of that on tonight. And my father is one that is living with one kidney. And like I was explaining to you on the last show, come to find out, I realized this is hereditary. This was something that was going on my father's side of the family. So can you just tell everybody a little bit about kidney health and kidney donation? I know that you donated to Kimberly. So can you just touch on that a little bit?
Of course, like Desiree said, it is important for kidney health because you have to remember African Americans, we suffer with the two leading risk factors of chronic kidney disease, CKD, and that's high blood pressure and diabetes. So, with those two diseases running rampant in the African American or multicultural communities, we all need to be our best health care advocate. It means eating well, drinking your water, getting your sleep. It means all the things to do proactive. And most of all, get to your doctor. Even if you're
Yes.
not feeling any kidney symptoms or not feeling well, you should still have those yearly checks up at least. And I think you guys remember from the last time I told you those two tests to ask, especially if you have a history of those risk factors, over 60 years old of age, but also don't limit yourself to 60, even any age. If you're overweight, definitely speak to your physician about those two tests. And that is ACR, which is your urine test. Everyone in South Florida, they hear this over and over. And I won't give you time to get your pen and paper this time because you knew I was coming on. So ACR, which is your urine test, and say it with me, South Florida, or wherever you're listening, GFR, which is your blood test. And you guys know to team up with me, myself, or Desiree. You hear her live and you hear me live all the time here in South Florida, but you know how to find me on social media. I'm on all handles. And just be proactive in education and prevention. Prevention, as you hear me tell you over and over and over. Those are the two simple tests.
Yes. Thank you, Trish. And real quick, Trish, can you name those two tests, the urine and the blood test again?
Yes, the urine test is ACR. ACR. And the blood test is GFR. GFR. And I also want to thank everyone, all of my listeners who has called during my show, even in the doctor's office, asking me, putting the phone. Do you know, Desiree? They actually call me from their doctor's office and
I believe it.
they hand the phone to their physician and they want to know who is this telling my patient what to test. And so, yes. And Kimberly had a funny story. One of her friends even said, "Oh, that's Trish from the radio station. She's telling me what test." So, yes, definitely. So, ACR and GFR.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Trish, for that. I'm going to bring in Tanisha. Tanisha, I want you to tell us, what is the ratio of kidney health among minorities and why is it important for them to donate?
Like Trish said, the minority community is plagued with hypertension and diabetes, and we are the ones that are mostly affected by kidney disease. So there are, again, as Trish said earlier, there are approximately 106,000 people on the waiting list to receive an organ, and of that 106,000, 60% of those are people of color, and majority of those that are waiting are in need of a kidney.
Wow.
The However, on the flip side, the amount of people that actually donate, the amount of multicultural people that donate, that become living kidney donors, and as well as deceased numbers, donors, is actually pretty low. The year I donated, I was one of about 5,000 people. that actually became a living kidney donor in
Wow.
2020. Um, and that is in the whole United States of America. So the numbers are pretty low when it comes to kidney donation, but the need is great.
Awesome. Now you're a living kidney donor. Can you give us a little bit of your story on why you donated? Do you know the recipient? Just give us a little background on your donation.
So I donated to a friend, but like Trish said, my story or began when I was in middle school. My mom was on dialysis.
Wow.
Um, I watched her suffer through dialysis. She ended up getting a kidney transplant. Her donor was deceased. As a young girl, I really didn't think about becoming a living kidney donor. But when my friend said that she needed a kidney, um, I didn't think twice. Um, I said, "Oh, if I'm a match, I'll be your donor." And she kind of laughed it off, and I never said anything else to her. I just started the process of testing to become a donor, and lo and behold, I was a match.
Unbelievable. Did you already know the procedure to go through being an organ donor since your mom experienced it?
Because I was so young, I didn't really. When you're that age, you're not paying much attention. I knew she wasn't well. I knew that she had kidney failure. She was on dialysis, and she needed to go to what we call it at the time was the machine. She needed to go to the machine 3 times a week to have a blood filter because her kidney didn't work. Um,
Wow.
I knew that she had asked a couple relatives to be a donor, but some of them were afraid. My father wasn't a match, um, so that was really the extent of it. Um, like I said, I didn't think much of it when she got the kidney. We were really excited. It was a deceased donor. We never met the donor, but we were excited. Her life did a 360. My mom was on disability. Um, and right now, my mom is expected to retire next year. So,
Amazing. Amazing. That
praise
is just so
God.
awesome. Congrats. Congrats. Now, we want to tell us how important is organ donation. Those of you that are listening, I know that you're hearing this story, and these stories are real. These are not actors. That sounds like a commercial. These are not actors. These are actual live, living donors. And I know in our community and the minority community, a lot of times you ask them about organ donation, it's like, I don't want to talk about that, and they have all of these different types of myths and different things going on. Can you tell them how important it is to become an organ donor, and just what it is to be an organ donor?
What I will say is this: organ donation doesn't just change one life; it changed many lives. And
Amen.
so I'll just
Amen.
again go back to myself. I have 3 other siblings. Um, when my mom was a recipient, it changed our lives. And as a result, I was able to change somebody else's life. So it's just not a single impact. In the work that I do, I have worked in youth and social services for over 13 years. I cannot tell you how many young people I have touched, but I'm sure that is because I was afforded the opportunity to have my mom a lot longer. I am 100% sure had my mom not received the transplant, she would not be here. And if I didn't have the opportunity to grow up with my mother, who knows what the trajectory of my life would have been. With my friend who I donated to, she is also a youth advocate. I cannot tell you how many young lives she has touched. But when she was struggling with her kidney, she could not do anything. She was extremely lethargic, weak all the time. She could not do the work that she enjoys doing daily. So it's just not a single impact. The two donations, myself and the person who donated to my mother, have not only impacted their lives, but thousands, countless. So it's just not a single impact. But like you said earlier, what if it was you? You know, and the ugly truth is that when I told people that I decided to become a living donor, I didn't get the best response from some people, and that was unfortunate. Someone told me, you need to learn how to let God be God. Like He'll take care of them. Why do you have to be a donor? They were afraid,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's just a lack of education. You can live a healthy life with one kidney. I am about a year and a half post-op. There hasn't much about my life hasn't changed. I've gained a few pounds, but I eat a lot. I love food. And I don't like to work out. So naturally that would happen, right? Um, but I do drink more water. I am more health conscious because of my kidney donation. So it really has changed my life for the better. I get to tell my story. I get to continue to inspire people. I get to continue to change lives. So I think it's just a lack of education. Not really understand that you can still live a whole healthy life with one kidney.
Yes, and I do agree, and that's why I have you all on tonight to educate our community about organ donation, kidney health, because I realize in our community there are so many, not only the men but the women. They are actually afraid to go to the doctor because of the report that they may hear, and a lot of times they try to self-diagnose themselves, and that may not even be the case. So, Trish, I want you to jump in here with Tanisha, and I spoke about the myths a little bit earlier. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the myths that we hear and the things that stop our communities, especially our minority communities, from going to the doctor and stop them from self-diagnosing themselves?
I think, Desiree, the biggest myth and misconception, and I'm sure Miss Shirley will be able to elaborate on this as well because she hears so much as I do. When it comes to signing up and registering to be an organ donor, the biggest myth I run across is they don't want it on their driver's license, or if they register, that for some reason the paramedics will let them die. But I'm
Mhm.
here to clear this up. You can fact check if you want to confirm. If you don't trust it coming from someone that looks like you, I can promise you the paramedics have taken an oath, and also the hospital staff have taken an oath to do everything to serve and protect, for one.
Yes.
And they do not purposely go through your belongings looking to see if you are an organ donor. Now, for those of you who are not aware, first of all, to be an organ donor, I've signed up, I'm registered to be an organ donor, but I pray every day that I go in a way or a means where God allowed me to be an organ donor. Because guess what, everyone? You have to have your organs viable. Your organs viable means alive. So the only way you're able to donate if you are a brain death donor on life support. And also to further remind you that the paramedic and the ER staffs are totally different from the organ procurement team. That means the organ medical staff. It's a whole different medical team that comes to orchestrate, and they're under the umbrella of Donate Life of America, no matter what state you are in. And we're going to take one even further. As of a few years ago, everybody, you can be an organ donor. And guess what? You don't have to put it on your driver's license. You can be an organ donor and not have it on your driver's license. I was an organ donor for right after I donated to Kimberly. And because it wasn't time for me to take my new photo, it did not say this on there until I went down there. I was like, let me go put it on there. Of course, you'll be registered. So the hospital procurement team would know. But for those of you who are scared to have it on your driver's license, you can stop that now. it is important. And like Tanisha said, and like Kimberly's going to say, and Miss Shirley has a wealth of knowledge, we need more organ donors. You don't have to do it alive. It's not for everyone. They say we are a special batch of people who are donating while they're alive. You can live normal lives. Look at Tanisha and I, but you can register. That's registerme.org. So, and also reach out to my websites pages. Miss Shirley will help you as also. But people, we need it. We're number one at the dialysis center, but the least to donate, alive or deceased.
Wait, say that again, Trish. Say that again, because that need an asterisk, that need a bullet
Yes.
point, that need to be heard for the people in the back.
I'm going to throw a nugget. People in the back, hear me.
Yes,
We are number one on dialysis
my God.
and waiting on a life-saving transplant for an organ on the list. But we are the least amount percentage of people to be organ donors, whether it is living or deceased.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Think on that. Let it sink in. Like Tanisha and I said, you would want help for yourself or your loved one.
Yeah, and the sad thing to think, Trish, they don't think about it until it's needed. They
Correct.
don't think about it until it's a family member or it's a close friend. So you all are getting this education now, awareness now. Think about being an organ donor. We're not trying to force it on you, but we want you to know how important it is to save a life, to be a lifesaver. Someone else that is in need. I was so touched when I found out my daughter was an organ donor. And I was like, hey, you an organ donor? And she was like, yeah. It was, I was just so amazed by that. So, we need more organ donors, organ donations in our community. And so let's go to the next question. Any one of you all can jump in. How old do you have to be an organ donor?
18 to be a
18.
living donor, to be a living organ donor. And as far as a deceased organ donor, sadly, infants can, because there are infants also that needs transplants. So yes, living donor 18 or older, but
Okay.
unfortunately, sadly, infants can be deceased donors.
Wow. Okay. All right. And Tanisha, I think you can jump in here. We're going to bring Kimberly and Miss Shirley on, I promise. I have a question here. What are the steps? And you can stay on as well, Trish. What are the steps to becoming an organ donor? I know you said registeredme.org or repeat that for me. The steps in becoming an organ donor. So we may have some listeners right now that are thinking, you know what, this information is very valuable. I didn't know it, or I thought the wrong thing. And maybe I was told the wrong thing. But, hearing these stories, and I want to be that lifesaver. I want to help someone else that may be in need. I may know a friend or a family member. How do I become an organ donor?
They can go to Donate Life in Florida. They can definitely go to Donate Life in Florida. But there are a number of ways, but that's the easiest way to sign up is through Donate Life. But they can also contact their hospital, the transplant units at their hospital. They'll give them steps. If they have a friend, the coordinators usually give them the information. But there are a number of ways. But the easiest way is simply just to go to donatelifeflorida.org.
Okay, awesome,
Yes.
awesome. And you know what
And
else I'm gonna do,
to
Trish?
add to that, Desiree,
Mhm.
also there's programs. A lot of people don't realize that get offer benefits like donor shield programs, and that can easily be done through nkdo.org, where there's assistance and benefits, especially for paired programs. nkdo.org also, or just reach out to me and I can help assist you as well. That
Okay,
helps you with um, assistance and guides too.
Awesome, awesome. And what I can do also, Trish, you can send me that information. I will also put it on the bio to this video, so they'll be able just to click on and have some type of navigation on where to go in order to donate. Now, I'm going to bring Miss Shirley. Remember, Miss Shirley is the double lung transplant recipient. She is the founder, executive director of EMAT, and she's going to tell us all about it. But Miss Shirley, I'm bringing you on because I want you to let everybody know what this month is all about. We're celebrating and recognizing National Multi-Ethnic Donor Awareness Month. So Miss Shirley, can you tell everybody what is that?
All righty. National Minority Donor Awareness Month. I'm going to read it to you directly. Aims to bring heightened awareness to donation and transplantation in multicultural communities with a primary focus on African American, Hispanics, Asian Pacific Islanders, and Native American communities. It was originally started by a Dr. Clive Callender, transplant surgeon at Howard University in 1996. And he did this with an organization called MOTEP. So it's been around for many years now, but since recently, I'd say the last 3 or 4 years, it originally started for the first week, August 1st through 7th, but now Donate Life has come aboard and is celebrated for the entire month. I cannot hear you.
I apologize. So Miss Shirley, tell us a little bit about your organization.
And let me ask that you please excuse my mask. I have a dental issue going on right now. But my organization is educating minorities about transplants. I am a double lung transplant recipient. I had my transplant May 6, 2008. I was first diagnosed with interstitial lung disease, prescribed on oxygen, and after a while, I ended up being diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Make a long story short, in 2008 January, I had a diagnosis of end-stage lung disease, which means I was basically on my way out. However, May 5th of 2008, someone said yes to the gift of life, and I was able to receive, not scheduled for two. I was called to come in to get my transplant because my left lung was worst. And but that night, I ended up getting two lungs. So I was actually blessed. God has blessed me with a double lung transplant. And I said all that to say, because it's kind of my way to pay it forward. Because once you get blessed, you want to help somebody else. In a meeting, a friend and I were with the Multicultural Task Force, and we were listening to some of the data about minorities, especially African Americans, because we know that we are not big givers when it comes to the gift of life. Like Trish was saying, it's because basically, of all the myths and misconceptions, and I said that it's passed on from generation to generation. They're not going to try to save me. I was born with these organs, I'm going to take them with me. Another big one is if something should happen to me, I want to have viewing and things like this. So, in order to better educate minorities, then we came up with a group educating minorities about transplant. EMAT is just the acronym, but our actual name is Educating Minorities About Transplants Incorporated. It is a group that has transplant recipients, living donors, donor families, caregivers. We try to include everybody from the transplant community so that we can actually go out and share truths and relate to people. We have a campaign now. One yes makes a difference. And that's what we want minorities to know. We need you to say yes. We want you to see the faces. So many people, a lot of times we don't see people that look like us, but there are many of us who've had transplants, and we want to share our truths. We want you to hear our stories, and we want you to feel the love. I said before, it takes a loving person, and like Trish said earlier, living donors are special people because guess what? They make that sacrifice while they're living to donate. But a lot of times we just ask that if you sign up now, whenever that day comes, you've made a choice to say yes to help somebody else. And that's what educating minorities about transplant does. I cannot hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, I'm getting a little feedback, but we definitely appreciate you and your organization because I have heard so many stories. Thank God, my father, although he's living with one kidney, he did not have to have a transplant, and he's been living for many, many years with that one kidney. He is more aware of his health and what he does. However, I know many other recipients that had kidney transplants, liver transplants, and they're still alive today and they're doing well, but they had to wait for so long because of the amount of donors. They've been on the list for a while. So I just want to say thank you, being that voice to so many and paying it forward to educate others in our community, especially our minority communities, on how important it is to be a donor. So I have a question for you, Miss Shirley. How do a family member, tell their other family members or a parent or a sibling that they want to donate their organs?
I think that it would just be a frank conversation, because that's another thing. A lot of times we don't like to talk about it because, in most instances, it would involve death. And who likes to sit down and talk about death? But just like we make plans for other things, we need to include that in our plans also. So perhaps when you're sitting down at dinner, or if you're riding in the car, or whatever the case may be, just have the conversation. Bring it up. I've actually decided that I want to be an organ donor, and you need to let your family know because no one plans to have an unfortunate passing or anything like that, but that's something we just don't know. So, like I said, have a frank conversation. Let your family know what you plan. And then additionally, you can be a donor at a younger age than 18, but you would have to have your parents' consent if that should occur.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm so glad that you said that. That I think that's what it is. Sometimes it's just very hard to have those conversations with our family, especially when we're talking about death and having to make those decisions. I think, especially in our community, we just don't want to think about that. So listen, everybody that's listening, just have that conversation. It's very, very important because a lot of times it makes it easier on the family member to make the decision because they know that this is one of your wishes. This is something that you would have wanted. So let's go to now. It's time for Kimberly. Kimberly, this is the best friend to Trish Phillips. She is a recipient, kidney donor recipient from Trish. And I am just so excited to finally have her here with us. Kimberly, please tell everybody, the benefits of being that recipient of from a donor. I think I
Well,
heard that right.
yes. Well, one, it gives the recipient a second chance at life, because as Ms. Shirley stated, I was diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure in 2013, and I was diagnosed with a disease of IgA nephropathy, something I had never heard of. And with IgA nephropathy, the disease is unknown. The cause of the disease is unknown. So it was just like, well, what happened? How? When? What? Where? And doctors couldn't give me answers. They was like, well, the cause of your disease is unknown. And with that, it had definitely improved my quality of life. Like I said, going to dialysis 3 days a week, it was very, draining. I was always tired. As Tanisha stated, that her mom used to be lethargic. I was the same way, and it just was not a good quality of life. So I do thank Trish and thank God every day for her giving me the gift of life. Also, it makes you have a new perspective on life, a new outlook on life. Things that you may have never paid attention to. Oh, I'm just gonna go and get my annual physical, and that's it. That's all I need. Now I'm definitely an advocate for myself. I pay attention very closely to my health. And if I don't get the proper care I need at a medical facility, I am definitely headed back over to Tampa General. I'm not calling out any, organizations' names, but if I don't get the quality of service and the service that I deserve, yeah, Kimberly is out of there. I'm definitely going over to Tampa
Trish is
General.
laughing. Trish.
And it's also just the simple things in life. When I was on dialysis, I didn't have a fistula. I refused to get a fistula. So therefore
Wow.
I had the dialysis catheter in my chest. And just, the simple things in life you take for granted, such as, taking a nice hot shower, standing under the shower, just letting the water beat down on you. I could no longer do that. I had to be very careful. I could not get, my port wet because, it was that type of a port was at high risk for getting infections. So, the benefits of being a recipient is just endless. And I'm sure that, it's things that I haven't even discovered yet, that is a benefit to my life right now. So, I just thank God for my bestie.
Yes. Listen, Trish was laughing, right? Trish, unmute. Just jump in there because what? Kimberly was something else. She wasn't playing, right?
Okay, no, she doesn't play about her health because it's even. I'm laughing. Also, we're not going to talk about the few incidents, but she has learned not to tell me anytime because when I freak out, there was a time when Hurricane Michael destroyed my hometown on the Panhandle, and all I saw was the news channels showing the whole area being destroyed. I could not figure out if my sisters were alive. I stopped eating for 3 days. I couldn't eat, sleep, or drink. And sure enough, my kidney was rejecting on her. She was in the hospital and didn't tell me. But another reason why I'm laughing because of when we after the transplant, I was walking around like bent over. And Lorraine walked me to Kimberly's apartment. We couldn't stay in the same unit because she's the recipient, I'm the donor. And when I get there, she's power walking and rushing to the shower. And I found out that day she had been taking hour-long showers because she had went so long without having a real shower because of the port. And I had no idea that she was wrapping up in plastic and putting a towel there. But it was just mind-blowing that she was in a shower to an hour. Her fingers and everything was like wrinkled. So this is why I'm laughing.
That shower.
And it just shows you how we take the most simplest things of life for granted. And Kimberly, I can only imagine, just something simple as taking a shower, what that meant to you. And it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, as soon as you got the kidney, you were good.
Listen, the moment I woke up, I felt the difference. The
Wow.
moment I woke up, I felt the difference.
Wow. So your body automatically accepted the kidney and just
Yes.
started functioning.
It started functioning immediately.
This is so touching. So touching. Trish, how did you feel about that? Like, once you knew that this thing is working, her body didn't reject it, it accepted it, and she's up, she's taking a shower, she's doing these things, like, whoa, how did
I
that feel?
I actually cried. Like, I was excited to donate because I knew what it meant for her. I never had the notion, what if something happened to me, because I knew I was covered under the blood of Jesus. I'm a God's kid, so I knew I would be okay. But when they came in, when I was alert, the first thing I said, how is Kimberly? Because apparently if I was in my room, then she had to be in recovery or almost in her room. When they told me that she immediately started producing urine and that it didn't reject, it's like I unheld my breath. And the feeling, you're not playing God, but the feeling it is to be able to, you know, save someone's life or improve their quality of life. People, people. It is a
Mhm.
feeling that it is undescribable. I'm sure Tanisha know exactly what I'm saying, especially if it's someone you know personally. But even if you're donating to a stranger, just to get that word from the medical team that it worked, it didn't reject. And Dr. Wong, who was our doctor out of Tampa General, he explained to me, y'all aren't even blood related, but you're both O positive, and you're
Right.
such a match. Till she's one of the few people who are taking the least amount of meds, the auto rejection meds, the anti-rejection meds. Like, you're only on four, right? Four or three?
Three.
Oh, well, back then it was four. So you're only on two. Most transplant recipients I know that are of kidney recipients, they're on 8 in the morning, 8 at night. So it's just,
Wow.
I thank God. It was nothing but God.
Wow, unbelievable. And
Absolutely.
Tanisha, she mentioned something earlier of the people response. When they found out that she was going to be a donor, everybody didn't support it. A lot of people
Kept it a
don't
secret.
understand the assignment, and I believe that God has a special kind of people here on this earth for a special kind of reason.
I
And
do
you
too,
all,
amen.
understood the assignment, and everybody is not going to accept,
Nope.
and I
Yes.
thank God for people like you that was
I
consistent
kept
in
it a secret.
believing, you and Tanisha, and so many other donors that believe that I'm here for this particular reason.
Hmm.
And when people receive an organ, the recipients, and just to see that they had an opportunity at another chance of life, it's like, let God be God. Yes, we're going to let God be God, but this is the assignment for me, and he's going to do the work. We don't know, so many times we try to figure God out and put him in this box and try to understand and say what he's doing. But I believe, just hearing the testimonies. Listen, Miss Shirley, she didn't even go in for a double lung transplant,
Amen.
but that's what God wanted for her. It wasn't her time. He wanted her to live. And he and he declared that she shall live and will not die. And this was the order that he allowed for it to happen. So
Mhm.
listen, y'all, oh, I am just so overwhelmed, and I feel like a preach coming up, because it's like, just like you said, Trish, this wasn't even your blood. This wasn't even your blood. And here you are saying, yes, I
Yes.
want to be a donor. Yes, I want to give the gift of life. Yes, I want to give my friend another chance.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing you and hearing Tanisha, even if you didn't know them and it was something that you could do to help somebody else, I believe that you would do it because you understand the
The
assignment that
assignment.
God has given you. And and you didn't allow people.
Oh, I kept it a
Mhm.
secret.
Oh
I
my
only told a
gosh.
select few, and until I made it knew for a fact I was a match and couldn't donate, that's when I told others. And at this time, I had my boss. My boss at that time was retired. He knew once I started getting the process. And you know what? I'm still grateful for him because he told me, don't worry about it. We'll make sure the paperwork goes well. I picked a time from around Christmas where I would have extra days. And I had a connection with him. I put him in the book that I'm in too, because his mother shares the same birthday.
My
And
God.
he took care of me in this whole process. I am still friends with him, even though he's retired. And I'm forever grateful for him too, because I don't know if I would have presented this to the headquarters not going through the way that I did if it would have even happened either. So I'm
My
grateful
God.
for him too.
And look at it. God had it all
Mhm.
orchestrated,
Yeah.
Yes,
all
Yep.
set up where there was no no hardship,
Absolutely.
no nothing. This was ordained.
Put
hmm
It's just
everybody in
no,
place.
yeah, everything was in place, and that's exactly how God works. Miss Shirley, I'm gonna throw you in here again with Kimberly because I want to know um, what is it that you or was it anything that you desired to do before receiving the kidney or before you receive the donation that you're doing now? Is there anything besides taking a shower, Kim? Is there anything else, like going out and just enjoying everyday life? Is there anything that you couldn't do before that you're doing right now?
Well, pre-COVID, yes, going out and enjoying life. Now, I'm very cautious and I'm very selective where I go, who I'm with. I mean, because I battled COVID and pneumonia for 2 months, and it was
Wow.
horrible. It
Wow.
was horrible. And I was like, I don't want to go through that again, but I am definitely enjoying life. Going to work and coming home and being in the comfort of my own home is enough for me. I enjoy that. I don't have to be out. I don't have to be about, but I enjoy doing what I do. So
Awesome. Awesome. And Miss Shirley, let me unmute your mic. Is there anything that you couldn't do before prior to the surgery that you're doing right now and enjoying it?
Now let me say this because you almost had me running this little hallway here a few minutes ago. But I didn't want y'all to see the empty chair while I take a run. But anyway, what I don't think people realize is when you're waiting on that lung transplant, usually you have oxygen prescribed. So in order for me to go anywhere, there were always oxygen tanks attached to me.
Wow.
I was still working as a teacher, and in my classroom, there was a concentrator. As minister of music at my church, there was oxygen at the organ. In my home, there were two 50-gallon tanks of oxygen. I mean, it was just, there was a line of oxygen attached. The moment I got my transplant, it was hard for me to even think that now my lungs could breathe on their own again. Because even after the transplant, I was saying, well, where's my oxygen? And they were telling me, sweetie, you don't need that anymore.
My
And
God.
God had restored my health to me. And
Jesus.
that's what made all the difference. And she was talking about she wanted to take a shower. I don't think people realize how much air it takes just to lift your hand up. You could get tired just doing that without oxygen coming into your body to sit and brush your teeth, things like that. So to be restored back to being able to breathe again, and that's something we really take for granted because you just wake up and breathe and go about your day. But let that be taken away from you. So
My God.
since that transplant, you know, and I say all the time, I was able to go back to work for 6 years and retire because they wanted me to take disability and sit at home. And at that point, I was not that kind of person. So, you know, well, you might as well let me die if I got to go home and just sit there and rot away. I mean, I've been restored, so I'm going back to my life.
Come on.
And that I did. So, like I said, my key word now is restoration.
Restoration. Come on. You know, I am just so blessed and touched to hear all of these testimonies and stories on tonight. And Trish, I just want to thank you once again for bringing your foundation on to share their stories, because people don't think that this is real. This is real. This is real life, everybody. I said it earlier at the beginning. These are not actors. These are actual stories and testimonies of people that have given the gift of life and also have received the gift of life from others. You know, and I said it before that God has placed individuals on this earth to be on assignment to assist others in this manner. And I am just so grateful to meet Miss Shirley and Tanisha and Kimberly and even you, Trish, as a donor. Thank you all so very much. I am just so touched. I am like overwhelmed, and I know that it's late and we have to get out of here. We've been on here about an hour and about 4 minutes. So and I don't want to hold up any more of your time, but I just really appreciate the information and the education that was given. And I just hope that this has blessed so many. If you had any type of negative thought or any myth that was in your mind about organ donation, or even being afraid to discuss organ donation with your family, I just thank you for providing information to our community, especially our minorities, because there are so many. Trish said it. We're number one. That's on the what is it? The kidney transplant. We're number one. That's also on dialysis, but we're the less ones to be donors. So we need all of our minorities out there to be organ donors. Share this broadcast, share this live, talk about it over with your family. Make that decision on whether I want to be an organ donor or not. Like I said, we're not trying to force it on anyone, but we just want to bring awareness and to educate you all how important it is, and those that are in need and sitting waiting. You know how many people prayed? Listen, I believe that Miss Shirley, I believe that Kimberly, they and Tanisha's mom prayed day and night to live for their life, for donors. And great be to God, you know, donors came through for them. But just imagine those that didn't make it. Just imagine those that died because of no organ donations. So I just encourage you all that are listening on tonight to please make a decision on whether you want to be an organ donor or not, and just listen. Contact them. I'm gonna post their contact information. You can replay this video and just listen, and any questions that you may have asked or wasn't asked on tonight, you can contact them and they will be able to answer for you. Okay, Trish, I want to bring you back in, and I want you to let them know how can they contact you if they have any questions, if there was something that they didn't hear on tonight, but they have to sleep on it. They think about it 2 days later, tomorrow. How can they contact you or contact Miss Shirley? Please give out that information.
Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. As Desiree said, if this broadcast has touched you in any kind of way, if you have any questions, concerns, or just want to find out more about the process of being a living donor, coming from someone that looks like you, or even if you don't look like me, we will assist you. And also, if you just have questions in general, you can find mmdfoundation.org. That's the foundation website of Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation, better known as MMDF. That is www.mmdfoundation.org, all one word. And if you want to support us, just speak with us. All of us can be found on social media. Everyone knows me as Trish Phillips. Then don't forget, there is Miss Shirley Scott Brill of EMAT Inc., educating minorities about transplants. She is found on all social media handles. She has a great foundation. I enjoy networking with her. And as Desiree said, she's going to put all our information in the comments on when she posts. And I want to personally thank my board again, who also are all on social media and willing to help you as well, especially if it's living donor concerns. It would be Tanisha. And also for kidney recipient information, it would be Kimberly, of course. And I have my sidekick. You can find Lorraine through me. And I think that sums us all up. And don't forget about Moda. Stay tuned. She's going to have merchandise, and the foundation is going to have all kinds of Moda swag, a plush stuffed animal coming near to you soon.
Awesome. And look, come over a little bit, Trish, so everybody can see Moda. No, the opposite way. Yeah, there you go. Listen, I don't know if y'all can see there we go. Yes. Meet Moda. Yeah, she made her debut. Was it today or yesterday?
Actually, she made her debut April 8th, but the foundation that I was on, New Beginning Ministries, I think Miss Shirley will give me their name because they're another good foundation. They went to my page and they liked her. So this is how Miss Moda has made her circulation again. Hi, awesome. Moda.
Hi, Moda.
She's my child. And she wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Beacon Foresight Group and the help of my niece, and Tawana. She helped me. If it wasn't for her, Moda wouldn't be here. She and I work night and day on her, of course, with Beacon Foresight Group.
Wow. Awesome. And Miss Lorraine, let me tell you, we did not forget about you at all. Well, I didn't forget about you. Caregivers are so important. And I just thank you so much for taking the time, because you have to have a caring heart, a loving heart, to be able to care for someone. And if you have never had a sick family member or friend, someone that you really care about, it's a difficult thing a lot of times to see them go through what they go through, to be able to get up, lay down. You know, you're doing basically everything for them. You're their external extra hands and brain and limbs and everything that they can't do. You're doing it. So it takes a lot for caregivers, even emotionally and mentally. It takes a lot, you know, to see them, you know, on their ups, to see them when they're down. You always got to give words of encouragement, got to keep pushing, even when you're going through your own thing. So Miss Lorraine, hat goes off to you. Thank you so very much. And I just appreciate Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation.
You know what? One last thing Lorraine reminded me in the comments. She had a connection too to the transplant world. Her mom was on dialysis for 14 years. So this felt familiar for her. And it's also another way she's paying it forward in her mother's memory. I left that out earlier because I wasn't sure if it was too emotional for me to present it, but she's given me permission to. Thank you, Lorraine.
Lorraine, thank you so much. And, you know, once again, God allows things to happen in our lives for reasons. And at the moment, we may not understand the why, but like the whole folks used to say, keep on living, you know, and it's like eventually sometimes you will find the why to why I need to do this, or to why this happened in the way that it happened. So, Miss Lorraine, thank you so much for paying it forward, not being selfish, not being bitter, but you took it in another route and you gave care to someone else that was in need. So it's just awesome. It just shows I'm on this segment, on this broadcast, with people with great hearts. And that's a great thing. And I just want to thank you all so very much. Kimberly says, Lorraine, you rock, and you do. And we just really, truly appreciate it. Kimberly, am I leaving out anything? I want to let you all go. The time is far spent, but we did get great information. We were educated, and we brought awareness on tonight. So is there anything else that you would like to add? And before you go, just give the information one more time.
The website is www.mmdfoundation.org.
Awesome. And I just want to say good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Real Love Ministries Live. This is your host, Desiree Williams, Hall of Real Love Ministries. Miss Shirley, it was a pleasure meeting you. Kimberly and Tanisha and Miss Alice. She was out. Her grandbaby was born tonight, or today rather. And we just want to give her a shout out. And Miss Lorraine, thank you all so much. We thank all of our listeners and our viewers for joining in on tonight. Please share and replay this video for information. And I will be tagging all the information and the websites to how you can register to be an organ donor, and any information that you would need to contact Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation with Miss Trish Phillips. Thank you all so much. Have an awesome night.